pregnant.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, my God. She's dead.
So, who brought Candy Costello's life story to an unexpected end, and why? All we know for sure right now is that one of these 6 weapons was used by Candy's killer in one of these 6 rooms at the Grange, and, of course, any one of these people could be the murderer. But which one? Seething with resentment and possessed by the green-eyed monster, did Miss Scarlet see red and commit murder? When Colonel Mustard's advance was repelled, did he decide to launch a surprise attack? Was the killer Mrs. Peacock insulted, humiliated? She may have been inspired to write Candy's epitaph. Or did Professor Passion kill to make sure that the story of poor Fay Grady was never told? Maybe Mrs. White took violent revenge for the death of her beloved Frankie. And then there's the Reverend Green. Did the amateur writer have an overwhelming motive to turn professional killer? Well, here this evening to solve the Candy Costello case, would you please welcome our celebrity detectives, mounting his own posse on the trail of justice, Radio 1 DJ Steve Wright. And with him, actress Nerys Hughes. And say hello to their rivals tonight, leaving the commentary box to face the witness box, TV presenter Elton Welsby. And next to him, comedian Bella Emberg. Good luck to all 4 of you. And I wonder what leads they're going to be pursuing tonight. But Stephen Nerys, first of all, your instinctive feelings about the case.
Gut feeling.
Gut reaction.
Professor Plum with a battery charger in the dining room.
Dining room, battery charger.
No, absolutely.
And the prof. All right, he doesn't go with that at all. Elton and Bella.
Well, our prime suspect is because we feel she's been harbouring a grudge for many, many years. Bella?
Is Mrs. White with a meat cleaver, and you did it in the dining room. If I would. Oh.
They don't like that at all. But who knows, who knows? Listen, if you at home can't wait to see the killer tracked down, the good news is that you're about to see the terrible event that's brought us all here tonight. But if you prefer to play detective along with our celebrity sleuths, then you should look away now. All right, you can open your eyes now, and let's begin the investigation. Inevitably, the killer will attempt to hide behind the usual tissue of lies. The innocent will tell the truth, and all our suspects will begin by answering one key question each. So, Stephen Nerys, who do you want to cross-examine first?
Well, I'll go for Miss Scarlet, if I may. Hello.
Hello.
Why were you eavesdropping outside the billiard room, and is there anything romantic between you and the Colonel there?
Well, I'd gone downstairs to get a glass of milk, and I just had to stop and watch Mike flirting with that woman. So macho, it was hysterical. And yes, Mike and I do have a relationship.
All right, let's move across to Elton and Bella.
Yes, Colonel Mustard. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Now, it is a lady's prerogative to change her mind, as a gallant gentleman you will know. Did the deceased change her mind, and at any time actually have that drink with you?
No, unfortunately, she didn't. She was one of those strumpets that leads people on, and I fell for it. But no, after the incident in the kitchen with the ice and the ice pick, I went upstairs to my room to compose myself.
It was very embarrassing, wasn't it?
Well, yes, I'm not used to rejections.
I'm sure you're not. Thank you. All right, Stephen Nerys.
Reverend Green, you know the pen, the poison pen in your book?
Yes.
Which Professor Plum helped you said, to invent. How did you use it in your book?
That pen is a fountain pen, with which I had written nearly all of the book. But also, it did contain the invention of Professor Plum. I could insert curare into it and use it as a poison pen.
So you have a pen that functions as a deadly weapon. You have an actual pen that does work.
Yes, but I'm a man of the cloth. I'm not going to use it for other than writing
Oh,
books.
no, of course.
Well, of course, you would say that under suspicion, wouldn't you? All right, let's move back to Elton and Bella.
Mrs. White, I'd like to ask you, where did you go when Professor Plum left the kitchen?
Well, I was very disturbed because I'd been very fond of my little nephew, Frankie. You see, I never got over his death. And really, I felt murderous. But I thought, no, calm down, Blanche, calm down. So I went upstairs and took a little glass with me and calmed down.
All right, Stephen Nerith.
Yeah, for Mrs. Peacock. We saw you in the study with the rather wicked pair of scissors. What was all the talk about blackmail?
She was implying that if I suggested that her father had sunk some of his ships to get the insurance money, that she would let my society friends know that I was treating my house guest with less than the usual decorum. And I'm a very social person, and I treasure my society friends very much. I should hate to have appeared stupid or unpleasant in their eyes.
Thank you very much for the moment. Elton, Bella, your witness.
Professor Plum, did you go into detail with Colonel Mustard regarding the battery charger and how it might be used to commit such a heinous crime? And did Colonel Mustard appear to be overly interested?
Well, I didn't go into any technical details. He's not the brightest man in the world, Colonel Mustard. Sometimes thought of sticking him together and making one long plank. But no, I thought the general principles, and that's all. He was quite interested, I thought. Quite interested. Yes.
Well, there we have 5 speakers of truth and 1 black-hearted liar. Let's find out what our detectives have learned. They must now make a deduction. So, Stephen Nerris, who's the killer?
We accuse now Miss Scarlett. We feel that she was full of jealousy and rage, and we feel that she probably did
With the poker?
with the poker.
And in the drawing room.
Okay, that's who you're accusing. That's what you think. Hang on a second. Elton and Bella, let's have your accusation, please.
Well, we think at this stage prime suspect 2 is Colonel Mustard. He said he went to his room. He didn't come down at the time of the murder with Professor Plum or Mrs. White. That's the reason.
All right, Bella, what do you think the weapon was?
Well, we think he used the ice pick. He went into the kitchen.
Oh.
And then he went into the drawing room, and Candy came in to have a drink. And while her back was turned, he stabbed her.
They've got it all worked out, haven't they?
I think they've scored a bit of an own goal there.
All right, let's go back to Stephen Nerris. You said the drawing room was the location of the killing, the poker was the weapon, and Miss Scarlett is the killer. None out of 3. All right, Elton and Bella, you think it was also the drawing room, the ice pick was the murder weapon, and Colonel Mustard is the killer. 1 out of 3. Okay, you think about those matters for a moment. Our investigation continues after a short adjournment. Then we'll take stock of developments so far and examine some very important new evidence. So we're back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Cluedo, where we're still trying to solve the murder of crime writer Candy Costello. Now, how far have we got? We began with 6 rooms, 6 weapons, and of course, 6 suspects. Well, Stephen Nerris made their deductions, all of which were completely wrong, which means we can now eliminate the drawing room, the poker, and Miss Scarlett from our inquirers. Elton and Bella went for the drawing room, the ice pick, and Colonel Mustard, one of which was correct. And maybe that tells them something. Miss Scarlett, you are, of course, cleared of the crime, but we would like you to stay with us.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. You may be a material witness. Well, in a moment, our sleuths will resume their investigation, but first, some fresh evidence which has just come to light. Cast your minds back to the library where Candy Costello is with the Reverend Green.
Now, what about the mechanics of writing? Any tips?
All I know is what I do. I stay up late. You want to write about dark things, you don't do it at brunch time, right? And I drink lots of iced water. Lots of ice.
And all day I use my little tape. Which reminds me, it's about time I got it back from Professor Egghead.
Well, you couldn't hear, but there were a few ahas from our detectives during that. So it's back to the cross-examinations. And remember, each question and answer must be followed by an immediate deduction. So, Elton, Bella, your witness.
Miss Scarlett, can you provide any sort of alibi for Colonel Mustard? Did you go and seek him out?
No, I